missed a couple throws he normally makes. They're bringing different kind of pressures. How did he, work his way through to get to the fourth quarter where he was able to really kind of solve the puzzle?
Well, I mean, I think that's exactly what happened in the first half. He wasn't as sharp as he normally is, but when you got a great player, you just keep giving him opportunities, and he's going to eventually find it. And it's just frustrating because we felt like we had some things that were there, but he just had to keep playing through it. And I think at halftime, that's really when you get a gut check. For him and for our entire offense, is how are we going to respond? We played probably our worst half of ball offensively in the first half. All the pressure, all the stuff that's on you. How are you going to respond in the second half? And I think Deshaun rose to the occasion. He came out and played one of his best halves in the second half, and our offense obviously flowed and executed a lot better. So, I think that's what you see in him. It's not always perfect, but he's a guy that's got really good perseverance. I think his personality, the way he carries himself, is just kind of flat line all the time, doesn't get too high with the highs, doesn't get too low with the lows. And I think that allows him, when he's in some adversity, just to relax and keep playing. And those plays were going to come, and they did in the second half.
There's a lot of guys on this team have not beaten Florida State before. I mean, just in seeing the growth of this team, did you notice the difference between, say, a fourth quarter like last year and this year?
Yeah, and we've seen those signs all throughout the year as well. I think for me it started, a big point was last week at NC State on the road, and we're down. A few years ago, we were in the same situation offensively, and we just tanked. And last week, we were in the same situation, but it was completely different. Our confidence was a lot better. Guys stuck with it, and same thing today. And we knew that. We told our guys it's not going to be easy. I mean, these guys have been the champs. They've held the trophy for the last 3 years, and they're not going to give it up easy. And so we knew it was going to be very difficult. But probably the most frustrating thing is we felt like in the first half, it was a lot of it was on our execution. We just weren't executing, and they obviously made some plays, but we just felt like we weren't connecting. And so we just really challenged the guys. But there's something special about this group. It's a little bit different than the groups that we've had, and that's one thing we've challenged them, because the last 4 years we've done a lot of great things offensively, have a lot of premier players, but we haven't had that championship run. And so that's really what we've stressed to this group, and it's got a great chemistry, great confidence, and so far they've got the job done every time.
Coach Sharon had a couple of enormous third down conversions, and he had a big game last week too. How nice is it to finally see him getting recognition? He's been doing a lot of little things.
Yeah, Sharon, very proud of him. Been here for 5 years. Just had an injury bug, a lot of different things, and to see him in his last year come through and have some big time plays. I mean, there's no place bigger than what he had there in the fourth quarter, and I think it's a great way for him to go out as a senior. And we got talented freshmen, and then we got some. He's kind of that older senior guy that's been there, and I've really challenged those guys. We need obviously execution from both groups, and Sharon's done a good job of holding up his end, and it was great to see the young guys come in there and add some as well.
Jeff, what's it like being part of this program right now? I mean, just in the last few days, number one, going to the championship game, broke ground on that ridiculous palatial facility you got. I mean,
it's surreal, and I was at the new facility, opening yesterday, and saw Coach Sweeney get emotional, and I know why, because I've been here with him. I was here in 2008, 7 years ago, and to see how far that we've come, and Coach Sweeney's done a great job of really building that foundation and really putting in his philosophies and developing his culture, as opposed to just going out and trying to create the best team that year. He's really spent a lot of time laying the groundwork and really believing that this day was going to come. And so, to be honest, it's a little bit surreal that time is here and that time is now. And I think our guys are doing a good job of recognizing that, but also I don't think our guys have gotten caught up in that. There's a fine balance there, but it's definitely a special time and not something that's happened overnight. And I think the things that last are the things it takes time to build, and you're building it on a strong foundation. I think a few years ago we kind of got that 8-0, but we really didn't have the foundation to be able to hold it. And I feel like right now, through the last 6 years that Coach Sweeney's poured in this program, we got a foundation to sustain the success that we're going to have from here on out.
What's your background, having played here
growing up in Tallahassee. What does it mean when you guys beat Florida State?
Yeah, it's special. Every time I see Coach Sweeney's sons, Will, Drew, and Clay out there running around, they're at all of our games. I just pause and remember, that was me at Florida State. And Bobby Bowden was a lot like Coach Sweeney, very gracious to let us as coaches' kids be a part of the program, be on the sidelines, be in the locker room. Ever since I was from 6 years old all the way till I was 14, I was, right in the middle of it. So to grow up there, obviously had a lot of special memories, and then to be able to move over to Clemson and be on the other side of that rivalry. But bottom line, more than anything, that's kind of fun to reminisce. And got a lot of family in Florida that grew up, Florida State fans. And whenever I go home during the off season and go down to my dad's lake house, there's a lot of Florida State fans down there, so we get to have a little fun with them. But to be honest, right now, all of our focus has been on our guys and being able to execute. I think at the end of the year, it'll be neat to look back at some of these things that we're accomplishing. But right now, after every game, you get to kind of peek up and enjoy it and see where you are. And then we come back on Sunday, it's time to put your head down and just go to work, because we're right in the middle of that stretch, and we don't want to have any regrets at the end of the year.